Loving greetings to you. This topic is 5 ways to rebuild trust in a marriage. I'm Paul Friedman, by the way. I founded the Marriage Foundation. Thanks for coming to our channel. I'm going to do this a little differently. I've been doing this for so long. We've been doing this for 22 years. And what I'm going to do is I didn't take any notes. I'm going to see just how thoroughly imprinted in my subconscious all of this information is. Because we take a lot of pride at the Marriage Foundation for really doing it right. Thousands of people have had their marriages saved by taking our courses. So, 5 ways to rebuild your trust in marriage. Number 1, stop doing what you did that screwed up the trust. So, doesn't that make sense? You got to stop. So, let's say that you were discovered having some texting on your phone that you really shouldn't have. And I know it was innocent, we didn't really mean it, we just did it. No. Anything that breaks down trust could be an affair that broke down your trust, your spouse's trust in you. So anything it was, you have to stop. Easier said than done. I know this better than anyone. In the 90s, I was always an angry person. I'm going to be honest with you. And it's embarrassing, the things that I did because of my anger. And in the 90s, I didn't know what I now know. I used to be a divorce mediator. I didn't used to save marriages. And so my very first couple was literally a couple who came to me to get their marriage dissolved. And they changed their mind. They decided they wanted me to save their marriage, me. And they didn't want to go back to the therapist because how do you think they ended up with me? And they knew, obviously, I'm a communications expert, right? And so what happened was I came up with a process. It was really simple. It was really elegant. And it was great. And we worked together. I wasn't going to charge them. And so the process was simple. It was using the principle of free will and wisdom. So that means that we choose what we're going to say, do, and even think. And so what we did was we used my whiteboard. I still had my whiteboard. In fact, I always use my whiteboard for all of the people whose marriages I help save. I don't believe in Western psychological, well, tell me how this feels and da-da-da. Didn't do it that way. So we would talk about things and we would decide, do I go this way or this way? Free will choice. Now, that was great, right? They both loved it. And they left my office really excited, filled with hope, and having had made progress. Because we talked about what marriage is really all about and all that. And so then a week or two later, the husband, I'm going to call him John, came back and he said, all this is perfect, except I can't do it. I get stuck. And I want to, but I'm driven to do what I'd always done. And I thought, wow. So I talked to my number 1 resource for learning, which is God. And I said, God, I don't know what to do. And so after a little time, I really feel this, that he downloaded this whole vision of what's really going on. The relationship between the soul and the mind, us being the soul, and this is not religious, it's just the way it is, the soul and the mind, how the mind works, that the mind, this was the biggest thing I think for me, that the mind isn't us. Well, I never learned that before, nobody does. We're literally taught without being taught that we are the mind. But it's not the truth. And so what I realized, it was like one aha moment after another. And so I saw it. I saw that the mind controls us. And this is the problem here. If you are let's call it a chronic cheater, then it's because we can't break the habit, right? We can't break a bunch of habits that lead us to cheating. So he also gave me, I put it that way, and I know it's not necessarily, yeah, it is that way. He gave me what I now call the SO technique. And it gives us amazing control over the mind, over emotions, over anger. I was able to get rid of all of my anger all of my anger. I had tried since the early 90s, couldn't budge. And I tried everything. And now I got rid of it using the so technique. So the so technique, and that's how you overcome it. And that's how you stop doing what you're used to doing. That is the number one way to rebuild trust in your marriage, is stop doing what you did. Okay, number two, and remember, I didn't take notes on this. I'm doing this as I go along. Number two, and this ties to this, become a different person. What do I mean by become a different person? Well, how are we defined? We are defined from people outside of ourselves by how we act, how we behave, what we say, what we do. That's what defines us, right? It also defines us to ourselves. Oh, I am an angry person. Oh, I am a kind person. And this is how we define ourselves. Well, whatever it was that got you into the kind of mischief that destroyed the trust, the most effective thing to do is to go and become the opposite kind of person. And this again is what the so technique is all about. It's not just stopping, which by the way is what the S is, spoiler alert. It's not just stopping, but it's also now infusing, replacing the thoughts, the feelings that we currently have with very positive but dynamic thoughts and feelings that over time we start to become literally a different person. How do I know this works? Because I've been doing it for 22 years. Thousands of people have been doing this for 22 years, and all you got to do is look at our reviews and you'll see, oh, the Marriage Foundation, we love you, blah, blah, and you'll see so many times the so technique is mentioned. It's amazing. And it's ours, by the way. It's ours. We trademarked it and all that because you know how people are. They want to steal your ideas. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, learn how to communicate. Now, I'm not talking about just being able to have back and forth conversations. I'm talking about when you're married, you are in a very special relationship. There is no venue, there is no relationship in the world or anywhere in the universe that is marriage. Marriage is an amazing relationship because it is there so that we can learn how to love each other unconditionally. And your job is only for you to learn how to love unconditionally. That's the primary thrust of your actions, your feelings, your expressions in your marriage is to learn how to love them. And when you tie that, you know how if you blend water with orange juice, you get an orange drink. So when you blend all of your actions, all of your thoughts, all of your communications with expressions of love, and then you make sure that it's coming from your heart, then you're becoming someone who is trustworthy, frankly. And right now, you're not. So, number three is learn how to communicate the way you're meant to communicate within marriage. Number four, become more trusting of your spouse. You know, there's a part of you, because of your inclinations to do untrustworthy things, there's a part of you that's not trusting your spouse. And this needs to change. You have to become trusting, much more trusting of them. And so that way, it creates this new vibration in your relationship, and it makes a difference. And number 5, I don't know it yet. Okay, come to me. What is number 5? Learn to love unconditionally. Oh, it's so beautiful. You know, I came across this. This was not my idea. A lot of the ideas just came to me, but I had read this where I'm going to call him a sage, had said the purpose, God created marriage with purposes. Everything he does is purposeful. And the purpose for marriage is for us to learn to love unconditionally. Why is that? Because that is our natural, true self. We are souls. We have a body, we have a mind, but we're a soul. And that natural soul is all about love, wisdom, joy. Joy is a very important part of marriage. And when you learn to love unconditionally, what you're doing is you're building layer upon layer of joy within your marriage. And joy pushes out mistrust. It's really that simple. So here we are. This is the end of this, but don't let it be the end of your getting marriage education. We have so much. We have YouTube videos, we have articles, and then we have books that you can buy, and then we have these affordable courses that you can take, and we even have payment plans that make it very affordable. We even have a training course for people who want to become TMF marriage counselors, and we invite you to take a look at that as well. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. I'm so glad you stopped by. God bless you. Take care.